they'll approve. And that's why we know where they want to discharge and the sewer plans combined and all that. So beyond that, we can't even, they won't even look at anything in writing and acknowledge anything in writing until months down the road from where we are today.
And all of that has to happen, and the sewage facilities planning module has to be approved by DEP before you ever get to that Part 2 permit that I mentioned, the water quality management permit, to actually construct the.
They will not accept an application for a permit for a sewer plant until the sewer planning is all approved by DEP, which happens months after you. There's nothing we can do about it.
And one thing, if I could, back to your question about how is that fair to Frederick Living. I believe in its simplest form, a DEP permit like that is basically you have the right and the ability, as long as you do things this way, to discharge under these parameters. But I don't believe that's in perpetuity. I believe that it's a cyclical thing where you consistently get upgrades. Just like you hear your report at your monthly meeting for Perkins Crossing and stuff like that. If you've got outflow discharge issues or something like that. Well, it gets permitted, but it's not to say that I don't believe that they've got the ability to consistently renew that permit if for some reason DEP's got a reason to pull the permit. If there in fact is something in their permit that's, if such time somebody connects, DEP's got a pretty broad reaching ability to control.
And my experience is that it's very common that if DEP or even a municipality knows that an on-lot system is failing, that you can't allow pollution to go on, so the alternative is permittee, fix it, come into compliance with your permit, or you've got to connect, you got to find some other way to flush the toilets.
Sure. Okay. Any other questions, Bill or Lisa? Blake? Miss Vicky?
I'm going to excuse myself because I'm sure the public
Yeah.
has
So
comments.
I'm gonna open this up to the public now, if you guys wanna make a comment. Feel free to do so.
Dennis Hatcher, Big Road, Hatcher. Good evening. I stand before everybody tonight as a concerned resident of Zieglerville. I want to keep Zieglerville rural. I think that there's a lot of folks in this room that would agree to that. Even though this is just looking to have an extension and not a final approval, you know, in good faith, I understand legal arguments, and I think that's fair, right? But could good faith not mean that, hey, the township has spoken, elected a new board of supervisors, and on the fact that we do not want this development in our neighborhood. We don't want, even if it's a 55 and older community, what if the grandkids want to live closer to now? They'll move in the area, right? So yes, even though studies and best practices, they don't always come true. Even though there's a new local code that you may follow to conduct studies, shouldn't that just be good practice to show that you're a good community neighbor, potentially, if you're coming in someplace? And the reason I'm saying this is my own filters get clogged in a matter of hours. Not just with a little bit of sediment filter. We're talking almost a concrete casing. I've got examples in my car. I bought them last week for planning commission. My 75-year-old neighbor, been there 40 years. Her well now, she can't drink out of. My other neighbor has a wife that survived cancer. She is in jeopardy now of running out of clean water for her health. I've got an autistic son and a daughter with agitated seizures. I want to have good, clean drinking water. Yeah, we've got filters. I have to have filters because of the sediment we're getting in. Now my filters get clogged up so quick that it's hard to keep up with, and it gets expensive. The consequence of this development is extend beyond our immediate water supply. Our infrastructure extends farther than that. Our infrastructure will be strained. There's not been any road studies. I live in that area, and you're talking building on both sides of a big road. How's it gonna impact, traffic around my house? It's gonna impact it. Because my neighbors, actually the lady that next door to Jim, 96 years old, drove herself to church every single day, or Sunday, not every day, it's not open every day. So you can't really say that, oh, it's a retirement community, things aren't gonna be the same. There are things that change, I agree with that, I'll concede that, definitely. But coming in and drilling, I was sitting in my office one day and felt this low frequency vibration and heard this noise. I work from home, I'm home all the time, so strange noises pique my attention. I go out and I look through the trees, I see two well drilling rigs. Not too long after that's when my filter started clogging up. Talking with Miss McGann, same thing with her, except for she's closer to it and is worse off than I am. Elderly need good drinking water too, just like my kids do, just like cancer survivors do, just like everybody needs to have good, clean drinking water. Evidence is clear. Development, the extension, fine. If we want, if that needs to be granted, so we can go. But just because it's proposed, this is an application. Could it not still be denied? So maybe the good faith is more around helping you save money because the community that voted these people in do not want this here. Plain and simple. And I implore you, as board of supervisors, honor the trust that was bestowed upon you by our community. Uphold the rural character of our town. Safeguard our families. And reject, eventually, maybe extension, not with the extension, but reject a plan that prioritizes profit over people.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Mike Haggerty. I am the Executive Director of Frederick Living. I've served in that role since September 1st, 2023, and I've been employed with the company for over 3 years now. A board member of ours was at the Planning Commission last week and shared, that these are taped. So I looked at some of the video that was there, and there were a couple of statements that I wanted to clarify and make sure that you shared some things, Tim. Mike, you shared some things, but I wanted to share Frederick Living's side of 3 things. First, when asked whether these development plans had been discussed with Frederick Living, you, Tim, said, yes, they have.
I know Frederick Living, your predecessor.
Who?
I'll get her name and the director of the taking care of the property, or 2 of them, I met multiple times.
Okay,
They're your company,
okay,
your predecessor.
okay. I'd like to know who and when, and what the
Can
status.
you find that out on your end?
No, because from my end, from everyone that I've spoken with, we have no record of any sort.
Okay, I'll find out.
So, from my records thus far, that hasn't occurred.
You weren't working there when it occurred.
Okay, so these were 2020, 2021, perhaps in that time frame?
I said I'll find out.
Okay, so that's one. 2, you described our sewer plant in that meeting as an old failing system. I quoted that because that was the exact wording that you used.
That's what DEP gave us.
It's what you shared with the meeting.
Yeah.
DEP was out to survey our plant for their biannual survey on December 30th of last year, so 6 weeks ago. We received 0 deficiencies for our old failing system. So I don't know exactly who you spoke with or what record you have, but we have public record that they inspected and it's fine.
Does your permit state that you need to tie into the sewer when it's built, or then you close up yours?
That's the third piece
Okay,
that I wanted to clarify.
I'll get that permit from DEP for you. You got it.
I'm not an attorney in this standpoint, but our attorneys believe that based on what we have on record, that is not the case. That we would not tie into anything that would be built on that property. That we would not have to do that if that was not something we wanted to do.
DEP says otherwise, but I'll track that down. And I can't bring in hundreds of pages of documents and schedules and everything else to every meeting. You wanna give me your contact information, I'll provide all the information, prove everything I said.
That would be fine.
Thank you.
That's all I have to share. If there are any other questions for me on behalf of the community, I'd be happy to answer them. But I wanted to clarify that to you in person.
Yeah, I can talk to you.
If you have a card, Mr. Hagerty, I'd like you,
Okay?
please, thank you.
Honestly, coming from Lancaster, I don't know if I have a rule here, but.
All the way from Lane, you better get out the door right now. I got a nice 20-acre farm, some straw out there, you'll be comfy.
No, I got nothing on right now, sorry.
Anybody else, any public comment? Okay. Yeah, no, I wanted to ask Sean, so I did watch the planning commission meeting, so I wanted to ask Sean, did we ever hear back from New Hanover, what their thoughts are on this possibly happening?
Yes, I communicated with New Hanover's township manager. He shared that there were past discussions about sewer connectivity from the proposed site to New Hanover Township, and that New Hanover Township was not interested in, taking on those sewer customers.
What I did state today, which is in line with what I stated, I had talked to the sewer authority manager at the time and said, will you entertain conversation about capacity? He said yes. I can find out what his name is. I came in to the supervisors and they said no way in hell. So I said, pursue it.
Okay. So,
I was shocked when public sewer was even brought up last week, because it had been made so crystal clear that public sewer was out of the question. I wouldn't pursue it further with New Hanover Township when it was out of the question.
great. So for me, I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around this, because now it seems as though we have no sewer.
I had to hear it myself. I know.
According to the DRBC, they would encourage you to follow my ordinances. I got a gentleman here telling me his well's ruined. I got another letter here from, I guess I wasn't here on Thursday evening, when I come in Friday morning, there's a letter here for me stating that her well's dry and she's on bottled water from Freed's. She lives over on Heimbach Road, 722 Heimbach.
It's not dry, it's just
Not dry, it was.
full of iron.
Yeah, it was bad, it was what I see, the big word here says fail.
Can't drink.
Yeah, it was bad. This happens right around what I pull out, is in June, when you did the well study. And it just bothers me, and I can't in good faith sit here and tell that young lady, this is gonna be okay. There, in my opinion, there was fail stops in place to prevent something like this. And I feel like somehow my community got let down. And I believe that's how we all ended up in the positions we are up here now. You had said yourself that you've been going through this for years with this township, and to me, that shows good faith on this township. As much as I disagreed with them, as most people did, I believe that still showed good faith. I can't believe that Ms. Tackett would not inform anybody of an ordinance that was written and passed by this board. It works for the board. And now hearing this sewer, there's really no way you can do this sewer, I'm not sure. And I'm just disappointed that we don't look at a sketch plan, that we're sitting here looking for a preliminary plan approval or an extension on it. To me, that's not good faith. Coming in here, Tim, and talking to me face to face, I would appreciate that. In 21 I looked all over what was going on in this township, and I did. I told Miss Lisa, I said, we're gonna be dealing with this. But then you didn't show up all of 24, and I couldn't figure it out. And I had to move on with the promises I made this township. And then we did. And then you showed up 2 weeks, before we're making other changes. And I understand what you're saying, Mr. Gill, but I believe that these other things have to be done prior to me giving you any type of approval here. I just can't in good faith sit here and let anybody down. I made promises to everybody here. That's my 2 cents on this. Miss Lisa, any comments?
My main comment is really just disappointment on the previous administration that they never contacted the neighbors surrounding the area to do a preliminary study of their wells, and that they allowed you to drill without testing those people's wells. And I thought actually, and back at the 2023-01 actually addressed the water quantity, was supposed to address making sure that the neighbors' wells were not impacted within a certain radius. So that apparently didn't happen, whether it was, I don't know whose parties were missed, us or whose party was responsible for notifying the neighbors. We were not present for that. And just to make one more comment to you, Tim, you made a rather flippant comment that we got rid of people here, and that everything had turned over. And it was in relationship to the water sewer and why we had the engineer and why we ended up bringing John in, because we had received your plans in November, but the only person that we released was the previous solicitor. We interviewed for solicitors when we came on board. We thought, let's make sure that we have the right people in the right seats. And when, right after we started come February, Tracy decided to resign, Kate, our administrator, decided to resign. And we didn't fire or release anybody, they chose to leave. Just wanted to make that clear, because your comment's recorded and people in the township will watch this meeting and say that they could take away from that we, got rid of people. We didn't actually get rid of people, they chose to leave, so.
Mr. Crawford, anything you want to say?
Sitting through the planning commission meeting and sitting through this one tonight, it seems like, I don't know, it's 2 different meetings. I mean, totally, things are said there that are being backtracked now here. And it just gives, you keep talking about good faith, but yet, I keep getting the feeling I'm being deceived. And to me, you're not showing me good faith. Why weren't you here in January, a year ago? You said at the PC meeting that, you didn't feel welcome. What did we do to not make you feel welcome to come in here? This is a brand new board.
Just that.
And you didn't give us an opportunity. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Can I ask you a quick question? George Jones, I live on Clover Lane. Was the planning commission meeting recorded?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to know, because I'll go back and try to listen to
Put aside some time.
it. Oh,
It's
okay.
3 hours.
About 3.5 hours.
Okay, so it's of my opinion here, Mr. Hendricks, Mr. Gill, that I cannot give you an extension, and I cannot approve this preliminary plan. And I make a motion to not accept this plan, not accept this extension, on behalf of Upper Frederick.
For the reasons.
For the reasons I don't think there was good faith, I think we're missing some things on water, some, absence of a sewage facility, absent a lot of details. I just feel that this is not a complete plan here.
John's letter, John's letter.
With LTL's letter, with John's letter, the sewer letter, my letter from Norm Ulrich, in regards to that, still missing outstanding issues. So I make a motion to.
And how about non-compliance with the ordinances?
Well, that's as outlined in their letters.
That's outlined in
I second it.
there. Bill,
I'm in favor.
Well, you have a motion that's
all
been made and
those in favor,
seconded.
say
Aye.
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 Mr. Hendricks, with that said, I would love to talk to you. You can come here, sit down. I don't have a problem with you. I get it. You're probably pissed off, you're upset. It's a lot of time, but it's been a lot of time for this township too. You've sucked the oxygen out of this room for the last several months. I don't know what you've been told about us, but I'm telling you, as I told everybody in this room, I'm here for this community. My door's open 24/7, 365. Everybody in this town I handed flyers to, I gave them my cell number. You call us, come in, bring something in on a sketch plan. Let's work through something that can fit into this township, that's gonna make you happy and make us happy.
And the
That's-
residents.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, the residents. So that's what I would encourage you to do moving forward, please.
I would just ask that the geologist letter, Vicki, that I emailed to you just a little bit ago, I'd like for that to be part of the record. The transcripts of both this meeting, which we're still being transcribed, right? Nodding, yes. The transcriptions of this meeting and of the planning commission meeting should also be part of any record that's returned to the Court of Common Pleas. My letters to you, the review letter from Mr. Ulrich, the review letters from the wastewater consultants, and anything else that would typically be part of a record going up on appeal.
So, just for clarity, because I assume that it might become an issue, I'm going to include, the two ordinances, the ordinance 2023-1, 2024-3, just in case they become part of the equation there, so that the court has them.
I believe it'll be your obligation to return the entirety of the zoning ordinance and the subdivision land development ordinance
Correct.
and the stormwater management ordinance.
Correct,
Um,
correct.
And again, I think I've already captured all of the letters that
Yep.
came from my office over the last several weeks, including
Correct.
Mr. Mullen's extension.
Correct, yep. And his cover email to the township.
Yeah.
Yes, yep,
Thank you.
sure.
Upcoming meetings, BOS
Hold
meetings.
on. You can stop. Thank you. I don't know that, you're not worried about him getting the announcements, are you, Mike? Mike, you're not worried about him getting the announcements that the board's about to make? About
Unless it has
PennDOT?
something to do with this project.
No, it's PennDOT and the next meetings and that kind of stuff. So just pause for 1 second, Bill, to let anybody leave who needs to leave. Take a break for a second, everybody. I don't know why, but I'm not.
Is there anything else on this agenda?
It is a little warmer than usual. No one wants to hear anything else?
Number for PA audio.
I know, they're just leaving us.